Bases dropped on a wall pass Wednesday here on Soccer's Morning Show on the SDH Network. John, here you there. Thanks for dropping by. We actually have live stuff going on right now that we can't do play-by-play for, but we can talk about. As I look off my left shoulder, it is halfway through the 6th minute, and it is Argentina and Morocco. So that means Julian Alvarez, Thiago Almada, Nicolas Otamendi, Achraf Hakimi. That is going on one screen someplace for you, perhaps. Also, Po Kubarsi, Fermin Lopez, Spain and Uzbekistan. That is also on a screen someplace. So we have action going on. The Five-Ring Circus soccer tournament has started. And so we've got a couple of matches there we'll keep an eye on here over the next little bit and see if anything happens in the Thiago Almada front while we're staring at it and looking off our left shoulder. This morning, it is Wall Pass Wednesday, so whatever's on your mind is what is on our mind. Like I said, it could be what happened last night in Columbus, Ohio. It could be the skills competition. It can be what's going on in the Five-Ring Circus over in Paris, as I point. For those of you who are watching on the video side of things, either on YouTube or Twitch or on the 280-character app. So that could be on your mind. It could be anything involving Major League Soccer that's on your mind. We've got MLS All-Star tonight. Debating as a public service to repost SDH's cure for the MLS All-Star game. And we did 2 seasons of it. We did 2 versions. We had the first one, and then we thought about what happened with the first one, and then a year later did a second one. So debating posting those as a part of our programming today. And you can always download and like our content and catch up with all of our content at the Soccer Down Here app. And what you do is you download the Spreaker app. It's like speaker with an R in the middle, Spreaker, Spreker. Then what you do is you go and search for Soccer Down Here, set your bookmarks, and anytime that we have something that's live, anytime that we have something that we've done offline that's a 1v1 or something like that where we catch up with newsmakers and such, that's where it goes. You can follow along also on our YouTube channel, also on our 280-character app. So, yeah, YouTube app, it's all over the place. And you've got all of that this morning. So we've got Atlanta United news to get into, and we'll discuss that. There has been some alleged movement involving the Miranchuk rumor. We'll get into that. There are reports coming out from Europe this morning. We'll get into that as well. And let's see. So we have all of the stuff that's going on involving the Five-Ring Circus. And believe it or not, I know this will shock you, but there actually already is drama involving the soccer tournament and the Five-Ring Circus over in France. France. We'll get into that. Oh, boy, will we get into that. And there's an outside chance that tomorrow on the morning show, before Nino and Nico join us in hour number 2, that we will actually find audio from conversations that maybe happened, might have happened, perhaps, possibly, in some plane, could have had some conversations involving the trouble that we'll be discussing in hour number 2. And the early stuff involving the soccer tournament that is going on in France. And it apparently is not the only trouble that is going on in France, because, and since this is not soccer-based, I'll go ahead and have this as opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. That's your QR code. For those of you who are watching, however you're watching us on our YouTube channel, on Twitch, or on the 280-character app, you hit that QR code. That sends you over to our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Don't forget, use the code SoccerDownHere15 to get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives, stuff that they have earmarked as cool, as Carlito would say. Hit that QR code, get your Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com, and SoccerDownHere15. And also, since I was hiding the QR code, we'll go ahead and let you know about the other QR code here on set from our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps. If you are looking for a career in the nursing industry, over 30 years of experience in finding folks careers in nursing, our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps. Hit that QR code. And when you see here at the bottom of the screen, how'd you hear about us? You select soccer down here. And then our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps are grateful, and they will help you chase after your new career in the world of nursing. Okay. Daniel Boffey at The Guardian came up with this story this morning. Now, like I said, this is truly opening kickoff territory. A Russian chef who has lived in France for 14 years has been arrested on suspicion of plotting with a foreign power to stage, quote, large-scale, in quotation marks, acts of destabilization during the Olympics in Paris. The 40-year-old man was arrested during a raid of his apartment in central Paris on Sunday, where a document linked to an elite Russian special forces unit operating under the command of the FSB and heir to the KGB was reportedly found. And we welcome in Jared Smith this morning. Jared, I'm in opening kickoff where things have already seemingly gone sideways on multiple fronts in Paris with the five-ring circus. A judicial investigation has been opened into allegations of sharing, quote, intelligence with a foreign power with a view to provoking hostilities in France, a crime punishable by 30 years of imprisonment. The alleged plot is not believed to have been terror-related. The man who has not been named was indicted on the charge the same day and placed in pretrial detention. The ambitious opening ceremony of Paris 2024 will be staged on the banks of the Seine Friday evening, and there's been long concern that Russia could seek to meddle in events. Prosecutors in Paris said the search of the Russian national's apartment had been carried out at the request of the French Interior Ministry. According to briefings given to the French media, agents found evidence suggesting the man was preparing a large-scale project, in quotation marks, that could have had serious consequences during the 3 weeks of the games. Le Monde, the French newspaper, reported the intelligence services had listened to a call 2 months ago between the individual and a Russian intelligence services handler, in which the suspect had stated the French are going to have an opening ceremony like there's never been before. No details have been provided as to the nature of the alleged conspiracy to destabilize the games. The paper reported that the man had been trained as a chef in Paris and that he'd participated in Russian reality and cooking shows. He described himself on his CV as a private chef. According to emails dating back from September of 2012, suspect had told his landlady he was returning to Moscow to work as an official in the Russian government. Intelligence services had tracked him for months. They picked up on his alleged phone call to his handler in May, during at a time when he was returning from a trip to Istanbul to his home in Paris. He missed his flight due to excessive alcohol consumption and instead returned via Bulgaria, at which point the conversation about the Olympics opening ceremony was monitored, according to Le Monde. 6 a.m. on Sunday, police officers from the Elite Research and Intervention Brigade, otherwise known as the BRI, called in by the General Directorate of Internal Security, raided the suspect's home on Rue Saint-Denis on the right back of the Seine, claimed police found documents of diplomatic interest among his possessions. Last month, according to The Guardian, Microsoft in Russia was seeking to undermine the Olympics with the creation of fake websites, replicating authentic French media outlets and the use of artificial intelligence to fuel concern about violence and terrorism. French Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin said this week that authorities had screened over 1 million people ahead of the games. Quote, we're here to ensure that sport is not used for espionage, cyber attacks, or to criticize and sometimes even lie about France and the French, Darmanin said. So that's opening kickoff. We're off and running in Paris, folks. We are off and running in Paris. That's your QR code from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Click on that. Use the code soccer down here 15. You get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10%, reinvest it in cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All right. It is 9:15. Then we welcome in Tyler and we welcome in Jared. It's off and running in Paris, guys. We've already got folks getting arrested because of espionage charges.
Bring me the bottle. I was told to bring coffee this morning, not alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Dial it up.
Well, why not both?
Yeah, porque no los dos.
Make your life easier. Just bring both. Mix them together. Have a good old time.
Yes. So this morning, Tyler, obviously, we got to recap conversations and activity that happened in happened at Mercedes-Benz involving Atlanta and Columbus, and anything else on your mind. First and foremost, Rob Valentino, good get. Good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. He sorry, my internet just, I don't know what the heck just happened. So if I looked weird on here for a minute.
It's the Russians.
Canadian Olympic team.
There you go. It's the Canadian Olympic team. We got to talk about that too in a little bit.
Yeah, no, we got Rob going to be doing the interview pretty shortly, actually, so it'll be really fresh by the time we have it on the show tonight. But just excited to talk to him, kind of pick his brain, and I think everybody deserves to get to know Rob a little bit more than they do, because everybody's kind of looking past Rob at this point, and it's a little unfair. So
let's go back to the matchup with Columbus. And, there were moments in the match where folks kind of got a little loud, and understandably so, and having to do with an LFTM, as we call him here on the network. Large, fast, tall man.
Times 2.
Stian Gregerson. Well, yeah, so by the way, this might have been the first
Daniel
one.
Rios coming into the technical area for Atlanta United as Saba will send us out of the near corner goal to our left. Sixth corner of the match for Atlanta. Sends it into the back post. Header, score! Set piece goal! Set piece goal! It's finally happened, and it's Stian Gregerson!
Yeah, that was the first one. What's the mug this morning, by the way, Tyler?
Harry Potter. I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good, which I did not know was going to be a part of this morning conversation with your opening kickoff.
Well, like I said, we still got to talk about what happened with Canada and their national team. And by the way, one set piece goal led to another.
Saba sending it in to the back post. Header, score! Again, it's Gregerson! This place is going crazy. Atlanta's got a 2-1 lead on the Cup champions with 15 minutes to play.
And after the win, social media, by the way, the social media folks at Atlanta United get A+ remarks. Actually, Jason started the whole thing. Say his name and he appears. And then the social media team follows in on the Joe Hendry phenomenon and superimposes Stian Gregerson's head on Joe Hendry. So we all believe in Gregerson, clap, clap. And it's a 2-1 win, and now you're north of the playoff bar once again. Now that you've had time to think about it.
I mean, so obviously I was at a different vantage point for this one. But, this game, it just looked totally different, I think, from a again, not because of my perspective, but it just looked totally different from the way that they came out. I think from the opening kick, like you had opportunities from the get go, right? Within the first 15 minutes, Bartosz Slish, who was like playing as a 10 at times, like ends up in the box and he gets opportunities, and Saba, and they came out with a game plan, and then, you're playing against Columbus. Your game plans don't typically follow through for 90 minutes. And in Atlanta fashion, of course, you're able to do the one thing that you haven't been able to do all season, and you do it twice in one game. And that's why you don't bet on MLS. Mm-hmm. And here we are after a win.
Well, I could tell you, first and foremost, you don't bet on MLS. Or what you do is you sit there and you ask me what I think, and then do the exact opposite, because I have zero success rate in describing anything that I think is going to happen. Yeah, it'll be a defensive struggle, 5-4, something like that. And Jarrett, now that you've had a couple days to kind of let things settle in, involving large, fast, tall man getting his first brace ever in his career and knocking off Columbus. I mean, tape is now out on Columbus, I think, about, how you can possibly attack Wilfried Nancy and that group.
Okay.
If you got speed on it,
I need you to grab those reins.
Yeah.
And I need you to pull on them a little bit.
Okay.
Pull that bit back in that horse's mouth.
Sure.
This is the similar thing to what? God, who was it?
Probably me.
No, it wasn't you. I'm trying to remember who the cornerback for the Broncos was in 2016. Because the Broncos defense coming off of 15 and 16 was outstanding. Remember, they won a Super Bowl. They basically broke Cam Newton.
Yeah.
In 2016, Atlanta goes out to Denver and wins. And after the game, someone asked them, "Oh, did Atlanta figure out the formula for beating the Broncos defense?" And I forget what the player was. Said, "Yeah, if every team has a Tevin Coleman." Because Atlanta basically like put Tevin Coleman, Kyle Shanahan moved him around the field, created mismatches, and just basically terrorized the defense because there's not really anyone who was able to cover Coleman. Yes, there are ways to beat teams, but like not everyone has those pieces. Like there were times Atlanta was able to just beat teams because in the past you had a Joseph Martinez or you had a Thiago Almada. Like to say that that's the formula, no, you have to play a very good game, and frankly, you have to have some fortune. Atlanta had some fortune in that game. It's not a bad thing. It's not a dirty word. It's not a bad word. You had a couple moments where Cucho, you kind of half expect him to put away those half chances, and he didn't. He had a couple in front of goal that you kind of expect him to put away those difficult chances. It was Aqib Talib who said it. Ricky,
Yes, Aqib Talib. I was gonna wait until you finished your
the chain snatcher.
Yes.
But you have to sometimes get a little bit of fortune, and that's okay. Because then you took advantage of the set pieces. Jay Fortune sets a really good pick, frees up Stian slams it home. You almost got a third, by the way. Bart, there was one that was dropped perfectly just behind the penalty spot that Bartek took off the first time, and it got deflected out for another corner, and I think it was goal bound when he hit it. And it would have been a third off a set piece. It was a really good hit by him. It sucked that it didn't go in. But, man, you did your job. And to Tyler's point, like, there's something in the last few games that seems to have flipped mentality-wise. And I don't know what it is. I guess for me, for lack of a better word, it's almost like they seem to have fully embraced the fact that no one cares that you're missing guys. No one cares that you might be hurt. You're going to have to go out there and kind of be a pain in the ass for teams. Mm-hmm. And look, Atlanta's playing more direct right now because of what they have. Because Daniel Rios and Jamal Tiare, who have been great, by the way. Like we talked about this Monday, Atlanta United went from not being able to have a backup striker, like the position was defense against the dark horse post curse, to having two solid ones. Like Rios contributes goals. Rios works his ass off. Jamal Tiare works his ass off and can jump out of the building and is goal dangerous. Like, great. You've got those problems fixed, but you can attack with those guys, go vertical. They can bring the ball down, and you clean up. It's kind of is like in a nutshell, not identical, but similar to what Frank DeBoer did here, which is let's shore up the defense a bit here. Let's make sure that if we give something up, it's a weird goal. We don't want to give up an easy one necessarily. Like the spill, you don't love. I know people wanted Brad to do better. It's such a weird tight angle that it's such a quick reaction thing. It sucks, but you've given up weird goals, but you haven't given up like letting someone walk through the defense goals. Like you gave in the last two games, you've given up that one. You gave up an inexplicable back pass goal, and you gave up a questionable penalty. Like you're not getting diced to pieces.
Yeah. You're
hurting yourself, or you're having weird things happen, which is where you need to be as a defense. And then you work on the offense. But there is something about them. They seem to have reassessed the fact that they have a pair. And they played like it, man. And now you carry it over to the Leagues Cup. I am of the opinion, personally, this Friday, you run Stian out there with Efrain Morales.
Yep.
Call up Noble Okello from the twos.
Ooh.
And you just put Christian Benteke in a Forest and see if you can basically turn it into an I Quit match with Christian Benteke. That's just me.
I like that. Right now, goalless, by the way, Argentina and Morocco. And Rich Ransom has done the public service announcement today by posting all of the soccer matches on the men's side that are available. 2 at 9, 2 at 11, 2 at 1, 2 at 3. France and the United States is at 3 o'clock on USA and Peacock. So public service done by Rich. God bless you, sir. I like the idea of trying to get Christian Benteke lost, but if you can't bring up Noble, then make sure that you can keep the ball from getting there and keeping him from distributing it off to the wings, and then that creates panic and opportunity for everybody else to sit there, and it's like, oh, ball someplace else. We leave Christian Benteke alone. Not so fast, my friend. If you can sit there and make sure that Benteke doesn't get the ball so he can start the offense basically off of his pick, sit there and grab the ball and then be the outlet from right at the edge of the arc. And then that way you can keep the point guard at bay and all that kind of stuff. So I'm intrigued, Tyler, by Leagues Cup and what it can present.
Me too, because I think there's one boat that says, who cares? You know, that you need to bring guys in. You need to get this transfer window going and then give them time to come in and kind of settle before MLS starts back up, because you did yourself a massive favor. Like, I think it's kind of been understated how big of a win, not because it was Columbus, but because it was that last game before the quote unquote break. And it got you above the line. Like, you're right there at the line. And so we've all been saying it. Atlanta needed this break, whether they were coming off of a win or not. They needed time to get the reinforcements in. And here you are. And you know, the rumor coming out about Miranchuk this morning that he's signing today, allegedly. We'll see. But the rumors are going to start coming. Guys are going to start coming in, and that's a great place to be. That being said, you just showed you could beat one of the best teams in the United States and Mexico if you're going based on the Champions Cup. You did it, and you did it kind of with a quote-unquote ragtag group, and you did it because, like Jarrett said, you're just being a pain to them. You were being very frustrating. You disoriented Columbus.
You're being a pain in the ass. Go ahead and say it.
Yeah, 100%. But that's what you have to do. Like Jarrett said, that's what you have to do. But I'm curious to see kind of what, and I want to ask Rob about this in a little while, what the mentality is that he's kind of tried to force and implement since he took over, because I think we've seen it and it's kind of, you know, been building up, but sometimes, like, you know, mentality is definitely half the battle, but actually getting out there and playing soccer and putting goals in the back of the net is obviously the other half. Going into Leagues Cup, you have the opportunity to beat a team that you've already beat once, and they beat you in about the only way they know how, because of Christian Benteke.
Mm-hmm.
So you know kind of their playbook, right? And then you play Santos Laguna, who hasn't won a game since March.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, your chances of getting out of the group in Leagues Cup, you know, I mean, you kind of like it a little bit. I mean, a lot of things could happen, but I mean, it's another chance at a trophy. I really wish we were having this conversation about the Open Cup and not the Leagues Cup, because it was much easier.
Yeah.
But hey, you got to take it where you can get it. And if you can get out of the group, then you see what happens.
And to Tyler's point, if you beat DC Friday, you almost certainly guarantee your path into the next round. Like, you win that first game, you're pretty much going to go through, unless really weird things happen. And I mean, like, goal difference, everybody wins a game, and there's an absolute mollywhopping of a goal difference involved. Like, you beat DC, you start making plans for everybody and their friends going to Bobby Dodd Stadium.
Yes, sir. And to your point about the rumor mill, Fabrizio Romano, who is a tier A, and as we always sit there and say, look at your tier 1s and tier S's this time of year. Check your sources, check your sources, check your sources. You have duplicate accounts being posted on the 280-character app. Folks will add a consonant. They'll add an underscore. They'll add a number. There were writers and pundits in Britain who were having, like, numbers added to the ends of their accounts. And it's like so-and-so and the number 2. Like, I'm so busy, I need a second account. No. look at your numbers, look at your sources, look at the followers, look at their track records. Fabrizio Romano has a track record. He is a tier 1 source. This morning, as of a little before 6 o'clock, probably when Tyler's alarm went off this morning, quoting Fabrizio Romano, Alexei Miranchuk will undergo medical tests and sign as new Atlanta United player today. Atalanta will receive a fee close to 15 million euros. So that's, I think, what was it, 13 million US, I think was what we're staring at in the exchange rates. And so this is the first apparent, alleged, possible, probable salvo involving names in Atlanta United here in this window, with all of the capital that Atlanta United is reported to have on hand.
Here. That goes the other way, I think, by the way. It's 15 million euro, more like 16 and change dollars.
All right, well, then let me double check. So,
no, because the euro is stronger than the dollar if you're doing exchanges.
All right, so 15 million euro equals in US dollars as it gets converted quickly here. Yes, 50, convert it. Okay,
I got it.
16.28 currently.
Yeah, you just went the other way.
Yeah, 16.28, and I'm guessing that probably eliminates any sell-ons or anything like that for future transactions, because I know that Atlanta allegedly possibly came in at 10 initially. Atalanta wanted 15, and this is $1 million. And so now we are at 16 million. So I'm guessing the further away we got from a midpoint of 12 or 13, the less of a percentage of a sell-on fee is attached in something like that. That's how I would read that kind of a situation.
Yeah, I agree. I think we kind of maybe saw, and we'll never know, but we saw something similar to this with Giakoumakis when, he had the interest from the Red Diamonds over in Japan.
Urawa Red Diamonds.
Red Diamonds. And, it was a pretty strong offer, apparently. And Garth Lagerwey said, no, we need this guy. And they went out and they slapped the DP tag on him. They paid what was needed. But you can almost guarantee that there was nothing else coming from that, right? Well, we're just going to pay you, and that's it. Like you're getting the extra money that you wanted so that we can get him here now, but you're not getting any little benefits after the fact. So yeah, I agree. I think this was one of those where they preferred the cash straight up, with it being a little bit more as opposed to any potential sell on. And I think if you look at Garth Lagerwey, like obviously Giakoumakis was not the standard. That was not, even Bocanegra said it, like they weren't really expecting that one. So I think any team now with Lagerwey at the helm that is going to do transactions incoming to Atlanta is going to look at that and say, well, they're trying to build something long-term. So maybe a sell-on fee might not be the best thing. Maybe we should just get the cash straight up. And yeah, I think that maybe that's kind of what we're seeing here.
Yeah. So this would be the first piece. And Jarrett, we don't have any other updates on Cristaldo or any outbounds.
We haven't seen anything about it in a week.
No.
Just no.
And the fact that that more than anything else seems like it's an agent
from the Department of Redundancy Department.
Yes. And an agent that wants to try to get his client paid more money to stay at his current location, considering that right now he's making $750,000 a year. And it's great to be mentioned in a worldwide search of the 280 character app when it comes to players and silly seasons. But anything that anything that has come out about that one just seems like an agent that wants to try to make a benefit for his client so he can stay.
No, I'm not giving it the time of day. I'm not.
No.
Because we saw it mentioned once for a guy who wants to try and pressure his club into giving him more money. You dropped Atlanta's name. You haven't seen anything since. Until we see something more significant, I'm not giving it the time of day. I will sooner not walk across the street to piss on that rumor if it were on fire. I'm not. No. Better things to talk about.
I agree.
Try and figure out the fact of, okay, you have another DP spot that's opened up. Hey, let's get weird. Would you rather spend that DP slot on, and this is an open question to the floor, Would you rather spend it on a striker, or do you want to go get a winger? Because the
Winger.
striker position seems kind of cool right now. Like, you have two functioning strikers who are not world beaters, but they're getting the damn job done, and you might have another DP spot open in the winter plus some U22s. Like, do you take that search filter and open it up to winger outside of striker, and maybe try and see if you can improve the left side production more often? Like, I know Shonda's been better the last few games, but last few games versus the whole season.
Shonda is Vinny Johnson, for those of you that know your Bad Boys references. He is the microwave. Literally, you bring him in, you get him, you heat him up, and he's a rhythm guy. He gets one, then it comes in bunches, but he's got to get into that rhythm to start things off. And so that to me is when I think of Shonda, I think of Vinny Johnson, the microwave. Comes in, sits there, and he's either 0 for 4 from the floor and 0 for 3 from 3, or he's hitting it in the back, or he's just crushing it, and then you keep feeding the guy. So, do you open it up to left wing, considering what could be lost in the offseason because of you got the contract issues that are out there? I think you open this one up too. Literally, it's like, all right, striker, yeah, okay. I mean, I think you can find strikers. I think you can find economical strikers out there. And then do you add winger to the mix? I think you do.
Wingers have to score goals too. That's their job.
Yeah.
I think we often say, like, oh, striker this, striker that, score goals. Like, okay, yeah, that's their job 100%. They're always going to be judged on that. As a winger, I think maybe sometimes we give a little bit too much leeway to, oh, well, they're helping create chances, and they're helping, they're putting balls into the box and all that.
That sounds nice. That sounds like they're being nice.
Yeah, but you have to score goals. That is, you're a forward. You are listed on the sheet as a forward. So yeah, I mean, you're still going to be judged on whether or not you're scoring goals, and some consistency would be nice. I'm just saying, some consistency. I'm not mad at that. I think if you do go after a striker as a DP, then, I mean, as much as I like Daniel Rios, it would only make sense, I think, for you just not to pick up his loan, right? Like, I think that's the easier of the two to maybe kind of quote unquote get out of. But yeah, I mean, that left side, especially now, I'm just holding out hope that Pedro Amador and Shonda kind of have that Portuguese connection and maybe something just clicks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you've got to be better more often. You can't be good every 3, 4, 5 games. So, I mean, you're in a weird situation, especially coming off of like a midfield that you're hopefully going to get something else out of with Miranchuk. And then all of a sudden, like, you have Slish playing higher up the field. Jay Fortune played out of his mind the other day, and of course those are kind of one or two off things, but there's definitely a lot to look at. But I think at the end of the day, yeah, the left wing and maybe the striker are about the two main positions that you would seriously consider bringing another DP in for.
Yeah, I mean, Jarrett, when you were seeing Bart come in and work as almost an 8-10 in a 4-1-4-1 in the attack, when Bart has jumped into the play and he's played more forward these last handful of matches, you're creating numbers problems for defenses, and you're creating more headaches, and more headaches for the other guy is always a good thing.
I mean, it's the matter of moving bodies around. You start moving bodies around, and you get into guys operating in a positional play concept, you start pulling people out of shape. It's the idea of one guy makes a run, you don't make a run for yourself. You make a run for the guy behind you who's also making a run for the guy behind him to free that guy up. You're pulling guys out of shape. You're manipulating space around yourself. It's unselfish. It's tough. I think especially when you're younger, it's harder to buy into something like that because you want to be involved with everything directly. The older you get, I think it's easier to sell that idea of you're going to move around, you're going to manipulate space. You might not be the one who directly benefits, but that scoreboard at the end of the day might be in our favor, so we're going to need you to do that. So it's done his job, man. Look, you kind of cobbled together this midfield with 4 guys. One of them an old man who is just giving you everything he's got left in the tank. One of them a kid who absolutely played his ass off against Columbus and Jay Fortune. And then the two guys you brought in, and like I told Maddie in the press box, like Tristan played Wednesday night like someone threatened his job, which probably should have, but he played like it. And yeah, you gotta just kind of reach down there, make sure you got a pair, and go for it. And it's gonna be tough, and you're gonna need guys to step into the fray here, and need guys to step up and do the job. Shonda's got to step up and be the guy he was at the end of last season, even though it's been a struggle this season. Luke Brennan is going to push for minutes from him. Tyler Wolf is probably going to find a few minutes here and there. He has to make something. I personally don't think you bring Tyler Wolf back. I think his contract is up.
Yeah, it is.
But he's playing for his next deal, wherever that may be. Luke Brennan's playing 4 more minutes. You got a bunch of guys who are pushing, like Aiden Torres with the 2s is pushing. Noble Okello, Javi Armas, they're going to be pushing for more minutes, trying to force their way in. DCQ is pushing to try and be part of any conversation.
Yeah.
They're always going to be fighting and pushing and doing whatever it takes. Oh, you need me to do this? Great, I'll do it. You need me to do that? Great, I'll do it. Because you want to be able to go do this job for a living. You got to show it. Even in the tough times, you can't. The tough times can't be all shucks. You still have to go bust your ass, and a lot of times you have to bust your ass even harder.
The tough times can't be aw shucks. That sounds like a T-shirt.
Well, I mean, but they can't. Like, you can't.
Oh,
it
you're
can't be
absolutely
like,
correct.
we're missing guys in the midfield, so we'll just kind of cobble it together and oh shucks, we lost. Like, you got to go still find ways to win games. Look, this should have been a 6-point week last week.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have lost the game to New York City. And maybe we're having different conversations after a 6-point week versus a 4-point week. It's still funny to me that it was a 4-point week and it played out the way it did, because if you'd have told me it was a 4-point week, I would have flipped the results.
Yep.
Because I'm a sane human being and MLS is not a sane production.
No.
I literally said that. I was like, we're going to get 3 points, 3 out of the Montreal, New York City, and Columbus game, and it's going to be from New York at home. That was going to be the 3 points. And then here we are.
Yeah, man. Like, and that whole thing feels weird. And I don't know, man. And Tyler, I don't know. It kind of feels like everything pivoted after the red card to Stian, and not just in that Montreal game, but for the last 2.5 games. Like, first half of Montreal was pretty toothless. I didn't really care personally because my philosophy was, you're at the end of a very long road trip. Just go get a draw. Make it ugly. Go get a point. You didn't. But after that red card, I thought they played better after the red card than they did before. And then they carried it over to the next 2 games and got 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we always talk about, Atlanta coming out and they kind of build up, and then something doesn't go their way. And then all of a sudden they start pushing hard for the final, 15, 20 minutes of the game, whatever it may be. And that's not the first time this year we've seen this team play wild after going down a man. Like, they've done really well. Like, they go out and they do, these 10 versus 11 drills like every day, it seems like, and they're really effective at it. But I think it's just, again, that mentality of like, we have to get something out of this. And now our backs are against the wall. We have to fight our way out of it. And we always said, like, if you could bottle that up and put it out there for 90 minutes, and that's unsustainable, but do it more effectively over the course of 90 minutes instead of just saving it all for the final 15 when you have to get a result, then you would probably be one of the best teams in the league. And I think, yeah, to your point, you had it happen. New York was frustrating because it was just silly goals, right? It was just dumb goals. But you admittedly were the better team. And I feel like we're back in 2022 talking again. You were the better team. You just got unlucky. Then you come out and you don't miss a beat, come out against Columbus. And despite everything kind of going against you, you went out, you go down, first of all. And that's one of the biggest points. Like, you went down against the reigning Cup champions at home. And then you rallied back. And miss me, and I've seen it, miss me with the whole, like, we got 2 ugly goals and that's the only reason we won.
Set pieces, corners are ugly? What?
Kiss my ass.
That's what I'm saying.
With that argument.
It
Like,
irritates me.
all I ever see is people belly aching with the people when you handed New York City 2 sketchy ass goals, one through a mistake, one through a penalty. Hey baby, the points still count the same, and y'all bitch up a storm every time this club gives up 2 sketchy ass goals. The one time they get 2 set piece goals, you cannot look a gift horse in the mouth. Kiss my ass.
But sketchy on the scale of goals. I mean, there's worldy, and then there's one in build up, and then there's actually probably it's what worldy, banger, build up, set piece, and sketchy. I think that's a fair time. I think that's a fair timeline in a ranking system here.
I think I would add.
Howler.
I would add. Yeah, like on goal. Maybe somewhere in there.
Okay, so Howler
Did
and
anyone
own
sign own goal after his standout performance at the Euros?
True. No, I did not see own goal get picked up by anybody. So own goal is out there. Speaking of which, Argentina, Morocco, goalless in a couple of added minutes in the first half, and Spain leads Uzbekistan.
I thought you were about to tell me that Argentina got an own goal.
No. That would have been kind of a good tie-in, but no. Argentina, Morocco is goalless right now, and they are in the second minute of added time in the first half, and Spain's leading Uzbekistan 1-0.
And as I do have to leave in a second, to Will's point, like bullet headers aren't sketchy. And the thing is, they talked about it after Rob talked about it after the game. Both those headers were very intentional. Like it was a matter of play design for Atlanta trying to free Sion. Like, go look back at Jay Fortune setting the pick. Like, both those headers were play design headers. They weren't just like put it in the mixer and put one up to say 3 Hail Marys and tie your shoelaces together. They were intentional. Like you had intent with those. It was not just like a throw in the mixer and see what the hell happens. So,
yep.
Yeah.
No, right there with you. So
Tiare in Toronto is like a once in a lifetime, like hilarious moment of time and space.
Yes, absolutely.
I will never get over it.
That has its own tier for sure.
That's its own.
Oh yeah. Because I think it was Matt Freese in the New York City game. At one point, like in the second half, like every time he had the ball, he was like peeking over his shoulder, making sure Jamal wasn't there.
Yes, absolutely true.
Jamal has scarred the entire GK unit.
As he should. Oh, and by the way, apparently we have a late goal from Morocco in the first 45. At 45 in the second minute of added time. Well done. One of their players apparently praised at Our Lady of the Almighty Backheel and created an opportunity. And hey, we've got flares. All right, we've got flares in the supporters section in the end zone after the goal. But Morocco leads Argentina late first half 1-0, later than late.
Okay.
Yeah, so a bit of an early shocker stunner as a part of the day of soccer. Once again, 2 at 9, 2 at 11, 2 at 1, 2 at 3. One of the 3 clockers is the United States in their debut as well. So really looking forward to all of this stuff when it comes to the summer of soccer continuing. And how busy have you guys been at Scarves Inn when it comes to the summer of soccer? It's like, yeah, it's summer. Everything will calm down. We're like, no, bruh, not happening. Nope. That's not how this works.
Copa America and the Euros were like a fever dream, I feel like.
Yes.
And, we obviously mostly covering the stuff in Atlanta, but on the show talking about a little bit of everything like we always do.
Yes.
And then it was like, all right, cool. That's over. Finally, I loved it. I loved having soccer on again, like every day. But then, it falls off. And here we go again. The Olympics start, and we haven't even had the opening ceremonies yet, and we're in for a full day of soccer. So, we're as far as the website's concerned, obviously, we mostly do the Atlanta stuff. If games are played here in Atlanta, we'll cover them. Like we have the Chelsea Club America game that's coming up. So we'll
That's true.
I will probably be there. I know Henry will be there. So we'll be covering that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to cover everything over on the show. We're going to get into it all. So
if you could have one question asked, I mean, literally, and it's with Rob coming up, Whether or not he can answer it in this dimension and or plane is an entirely different discussion. But if there was one piece of curiosity, if there was one question on the board that you could ask and get an answer for, what do you think it would be?
I've kind of gone back and forth on this because obviously there are questions that you can ask. There are questions that you can't ask. There are questions you probably should or shouldn't ask.
Mm-hmm.
And there are questions that you just don't have time for. And I think for me, some version of the question of essentially, what do you do to overcome basically the crap show that you were put in?
Yeah.
And what would you consider a success by the end of the season, to the point where you feel like you legitimately could get the actual head coaching job going into next year? Like, what would be a measure of success for you, but also to the same degree that the club would feel they want to go forward with you? And obviously that's very opinionated, and his answer might be different from Garth Lagerway's and everything else, but I just kind of want to know what he determines success, because it's easy to say, well, we should win every game, but I want to know, like, what are your numbers? Like, where would you absolutely not be okay going below in terms of wins, losses, draws, and all that, points, whatever? So, but then there's a million other ones that I would love to ask. I'd want to get into it about the coaching philosophy.
I want to know who's on his speed dial when he has a question.
Okay. Yeah.
Philosophically, or it's like, I'm stuck, my brain is stuck and I can't move my pen any further about something that I'm trying to think. Who does he call? Who does he reach out to? Who's on his speed dial? Who's his bartender? Who gives him advice when he saddles up to the bar at the end of the day, 6:00 and he's on the drive home, saddles up to the bar at insert bar here. Who's his bartender? Who's on his speed dial? Who does he call that he knows will pick up to answer questions?
And I'm glad you said that, because one of the questions that I kind of want to try to get into, if we have time, is essentially that, him and Wilfred Nancy allegedly took the coaching class at the same time.
Right.
And I kind of want to know, like, how is that relationship now? How was the relationship between you two? Like, did you kind of
did Nancy sit in the first 3 rows of the class, or did you both sit in the back?
Totally right in front of the teacher. 100%. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of like about that, not just that relationship, but about, going through that class in general, and like, what of that has he actually brought to the team and his coaching philosophy, as opposed to what has he brought from every other coach that's been in Atlanta? Because it's one thing to learn out of the books. It's another thing to learn on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Rob's got probably a little bit of the best of both worlds. He can bring it together somehow. And kind of, how does he do that?
Yes. See, now the book knowledge and the street knowledge, those are 2 different kinds of knowledge there.
Gotta have both. Have both.
Absolutely. Obviously, we're now at the All-Star break. And we got a couple of minutes here with you. When it comes to the All-Star break in and of itself, when you have your life squared away in tiers, TIERS, when it comes to Major League Soccer, who do you still have in the no worries category? Who do you have in the kind of, I don't know? And who do you have that just like, you're done?
In terms of
in terms of standings, East, West, who's like, okay, they got no worries? Who's like, maybe one way, one thing or another, they can make a move up, they can move down, and then the third category of like, you're done.
Yeah, let me pull up the standings real quick, just so I've got them in front of me. But yeah, I mean, I still hold out hope that Miami will like run out of batteries, because that's what they do. Really funny story yesterday.
Yeah.
Went to go buy batteries on Amazon. You know who was on the front of the battery as a sponsor?
Luis Suarez.
All 4 of them.
And
I'm like, if that's not the most fitting thing, because God knows at some point they've got to run out, but they're so far ahead right now, Miami. But I just think Miami, Cincinnati, Columbus are just so far ahead. Columbus is going to do their thing. Now, I do think with some of the trades, some of the outgoing guys, I think maybe they have fallen off a step, but you're not going to count them out. I'm not convinced with the Red Bulls, New York City, or Orlando and Toronto. Like, all of those to me are ones that Atlanta could, I don't know that you're reaching them, but you could go in and get points out of those matches, whenever you do play them. And then everybody below, some of them you've already beat, some of them you've been beat by. But I think Atlanta, honestly, with what they're showing at this point in the season, they're probably right where they deserve to be, which is why I call this summer transfer window the wild card. Because you could come out of it like you did last year and be a much different squad, and you could, shoot up the standings a little bit. You're not going to go up there and win the Supporter Shield. That's out of the question. That was out of the question 2 months ago. But you could make it into the playoffs. You're there now. Like, you're at the line.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to continue some form of consistency, get your 3 points at home, try to get some stuff away, hope that your guys that are coming in are really, really difference makers. And look, worst case scenario, you have these new guys come in, they get time with the team, and then you go into next year with either A, Rob, or B, a new coach, but you've got most everybody here, and you just hope that whoever it is able to develop everybody together into one team, one cohesive unit, because that's been the biggest thing that we're missing right now.
All right, hit all of the social medias and the promos. So cut the promo for me as we wrap up your time here on another Wall Pass Wednesday, where you've put up with all of my insanity.
It was fun. Yeah, no, go head over to Scarves and Spikes over on all the social medias. Scarves and Spikes on Twitter. Scarvesandspikes.com is the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Got all the links, all the good stuff. And then tonight we will have our show at 7:00, and we will have interim head coach Rob Valentino on there talking with me and probably Tommy. I don't know that Sydney's gonna be able to make it to the recording, but we'll get a solid 20-25 minutes with him, and we'll just be chatting about him, the team, his coaching philosophy, kind of where he goes from here. So it'll be fun.
Absolutely. And as always, my friend, it's great to see you on a Wall Pass Wednesday, where God knows what we're going to talk about.
Hey,
and literally just sit there and try to grab the comet by the tail and figure out where it goes. Have a great conversation with Rob. We will see you and various folks on Friday, according to the calendar.
Yes.
Leagues Cup, 8 p.m. against the DC United, where you've got folks posting up against anybody and everybody named Christian Benteke. Be safe, my friend. Like how the studio space is continuing to grow and evolve. And I see the scarves inching their way closer and closer to the camera and the microphone. You're adding more three-dimensional space here.
Yeah, I gotta fit them all in somehow. So I figured, why not just come outward, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But I got a couple of the USA ones here.
I see. Yeah, I got
you. Go USA.
See, so mine are like, let's see, there's my Argentina off to the edge, and then a couple over, hidden. You see, right there.
So there you go. Yep.
There's the U.S. one, and then up top is the other U.S. one. So there's the U.S. one, the Copa Generic, and the Argentina, because God knows when the next time is going to be when you can grab an Argentina scarf involving a competition that you covered. So enjoy your cup of coffee, number 2, I imagine.
It's about to be number 2.
All right.
So get a refill now.
Go get your second cup of coffee, my friend. We'll see you Friday.
All right, see you.
All right, that's Tyler. And Tyler is with Scarves and Spikes at ATL Pilgs on the 280 character app. And great to catch up with him. And as always, he puts up with all of our shenanigans. Like I said, we mentioned shenanigans and we mentioned Canada soccer. And I'm fairly confident that tomorrow we will have what could have been a possible alleged conversation over in Paris involving the Canadian Olympic Committee and the powers that are involving the issue. Capital T, capital I. And what I mean by the issue is this. And we go to our friend Bruce Arthur on the 280 character app as we sit here and we kind of lean into hour number 2. So I want to get Bruce's 280 character app handle correct, because this is just sure. Okay. All right. Here's what happened. You thought that everything was kind of okay, involving what was going on with the Canadian national team. So I wanna talk about this on a couple of different fronts. As our buddy Dylan Butler is in the bullpen, and he's going to hear me. He's going to hear me vent for a second, and I don't know if venting is the right word, but anyway. So, like I said, we have just started the 5-ring circus over in France. So here's what happened. Apparently, according to stuff.co.nz, it started with this, and I hate pop-up windows. Ian Anderson. The football ferns, and this is a New Zealand paper. The football ferns were allegedly spied on via a drone ahead of their opening game at the Paris Olympics. The drone operator, who has been identified as a support staff member of the wider Canada women's football team, was detained by police. Incident happened at the New Zealand women's team training session on Monday in Saint-Etienne. New Zealand will face Canada in their first match of pool play at the games on Friday morning, New Zealand time. New Zealand Olympic Committee's formally lodged the incident with the IOC Integrity Unit and has asked Canada for a full review, it said in a media release late Tuesday night, New Zealand time, after an inquiry by Stuff. It's the name of the actual publication, stuff.co.nz. Release said, quote, Team Canada has issued an apology and is investigating the circumstances around the incident. And this is where we bring in Dylan Butler to be a part of lovely conversation here. So, Dylan, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning.
We have just started. We haven't even started officially the opening ceremonies for the 5-ring circus in Paris.
But it has started.
It has started. It has. We have not had the opening ceremony, but we have had an official start. And what is an official start without having a Russian chef detained by French police about destabilizing the 5-ring circus? I'm not using the O word because I don't want to get in trouble. And now it has come out that Canada Soccer allegedly, possibly, probably was spying with a drone on their first match opponent with New Zealand. It says, so Canada Olympic Committee statement. Canada Olympic Committee was made aware that a non-accredited member of the Canada Soccer support team was detained by French authorities in Saint-Etienne following a complaint by New Zealand Football on the 22nd. Staff member is believed to have been using a drone to record the New Zealand women's football team during practice. The Canadian Olympic Committee stands for fair play. The only thing missing, I think, is the index finger skyward. And we are shocked and disappointed. We offer our heartfelt apologies to New Zealand football, to all the players affected, and to the New Zealand Olympic Committee. So we put a bookmark in that. It gets better. And I mean by better, I'd mean worse. Bruce Arthur. A second Canadian drone spying incident has now been unearthed. So the whole drone thing is not an accident by Canada Soccer. And Bev Priestman is now not coaching the women's soccer opener, from Bruce Arthur. And Bruce writes a lot of stuff. He works for the Toronto Star. He got a press release. Following the review of the July 22nd drone incident in Saint-Etienne, and upon learning of a second drone incident at a July 19th New Zealand practice, Canadian Olympic Committee has imposed the following sanctions and consequences. The unaccredited analyst is being removed from the Canadian Olympic team, sent home immediately. That was a quick vacation. An assistant coach to whom the unaccredited analyst reports to is being removed from the Canadian Olympic team, being sent home immediately. COC has accepted the decision of Bev Priestman to remove herself from coaching the match against New Zealand on July 25. Canada Soccer staff will undergo mandatory ethics training. Bev Priestman made a statement that was several sentences long. Can she even coach? Should she even be allowed to coach in this tournament with this stuff? We haven't even started. Well, we technically have. We've had goals scored on the men's side. can bet. What is going on with Canada soccer?
I think next time they decide to fly drones, it shouldn't be like a red and white drone with the maple leaf on it. That was a clear indicator that. Yeah, I don't know. It's listen. I guess when you want to arrive on the world stage as a footballing nation, here's a way to do it, right? You need controversy. You need I guess drones. you need spying. I think the only thing you didn't get here was a Bielsa press conference.
Oh, the PowerPoint presentation would have been great.
Yeah.
Bev Priestman going, here's why I don't need the drone video going up against New Zealand. And she goes into the whole Bielsa PowerPoint. That'd be
right,
awesome.
exactly.
I mean, you look at this, you go, what? What are you people doing? I feel like Ross Geller all of a sudden. Why? Look, you're supposed to be this emerging power or whatever you want to call it. Look, you're the defending champs.
Yeah.
And you do this against New Zealand's practice. I know it's your first opponent, but still, it's New Zealand's practice. The female Ferns. I bet Priestman can't continue, can't you?
I would love to see what the how hilarious it would be if all they caught was them just the start of the training session. So they're just running up
calisthenics and toe touching.
Yeah.
It's the first.
What is that thing buzzing up there? What is that?
Oh my! It's I saw that and I was like, you've got to be kidding me! But I know you're not kidding me. And so obviously we're off to a start. Not that we are giving any kind of scores or play-by-play or anything. But the second half has started, and apparently the Spain match is all tied up with Uzbekistan, and I'm waiting for the tombstone graphic to come up in the upper left-hand corner, which seems to be slightly tardy, involving the world feed. They're kind of taking their time about it, but big goal by Morocco in the first half against Argentina. So it's
and also was this I mean I don't. Was it purchased in France, or did they actually bring it across with their luggage?
I don't know.
They checked said drone with the soccer balls and the
yeah. So it's okay, what do you declare? Drone. Okay. Okay. So
what is your intent?
Yeah, or droning.
Just gonna and first of all, drones generally are just never a good idea.
No.
There's all kinds of you can't. I'm sure you can't just bring a drone to the Eiffel Tower, for example.
What are you doing? I'm shooting folks. You see that dude up there? He's going to propose to his girlfriend. I'm shooting. I'm shooting the drone video. It's like, from a view to a kill. It's like you've got the cameras and everything, and you're shooting. Grace Jones and Max Zorin doing their, Christopher Walken doing their thing at the beginning of A View to a Kill. I mean, no, it's why. Seriously, I go back to being Ross Geller here. Why? I mean, it's just we haven't we got 45 minutes into the first matches, and we're getting chaos from the women's soccer tournament, which hasn't even started yet. Did you, sir? I guess when you look at so we'll stick with the Olympics. I got one more Olympics question. When it comes to the men's and the women's national teams, what is your expectations involving this tournament with these rosters, sir? ?
I mean, I think with the women, the expectation is always as a medalist, right? So, obviously two different levels of expectation between the two teams, rightfully so. But I think the women, if I got to think if they don't win a gold, that's a disappointment, right? Or at least in the game, it would be disappointment. And for the men, survive this first game.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get a point out of it, awesome. But I would think certainly advancing to the knockout stages would be important for the men's team, right? So and maybe even win a game there. That would be good for them, I think. But I'm intrigued to see sort of how this. It's been so long, right, since we've had a men's team in the Olympics. I'd love to. I think it's a perfect time, right? Just before the World Cup is here. I'd love to kind of see how this appearance, and hopefully it's a successful one, then translates going forward in the next 2 years.
Yeah, and I think that's that's key here to see where the development is when it comes to on the men's side. Who is on your list to be the new man in charge on the touchline now that we're having all of these kinds of discussions? Who are you keeping your eye on when it comes to the new head on the men's team?
That's a great question. We've seen the reports about Vieira, right? And listen, obviously, when he was coaching NYCFC, I was covering that team a lot more closely. So I got to know Patrick pretty well. I got to see his training sessions. Did not bring a drone.
Excellent point.
Was just sitting there watching. And I'm surprised. It's funny because when he left NYCFC, he obviously left them in a really good way. Very much the architect of the success that they've had since, right? Surprised that that level of success for him, coaching wise, hasn't continued when he was in Europe. I thought, I thought he was a good manager, right? Like I thought he commanded the respect of the players. When he spoke, certainly, he got the attention of the players. Just I don't know why I don't know why that success didn't then continue on in France and in England.
And I know a lot of folks their spidey senses went up when Vieira just flat out resigned from his post. Everybody's like, ooh, and does that mean that he moves to the closer parts to the front of the roller coaster here? Does he get to sit in the front and make sure that his bar works when they put it down and he's ready to go on this ride? I mean, you look at Vieira. I know folks have looked at Steve Cherundolo, and we have discussed Steve Cherundolo as a don't go near there when it comes to.
That's a Berhalter clone, really,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and I've made the point that he's regressed in his style, coaching wise, ever since they got blown out of CONCACAF Champions League. Ever since that loss, he has not been the same coach, and they basically want to lay back and try and pounce and try and be clinical. It's almost Red Bulls with athletes. when you look at what he's doing right now at LAFC, and it almost seems like someone like that would be a yeah, okay, well, it's same church, it's the same kind of thing. Since he's a Berhalter disciple, would you have that kind of early success if you put him in through one cycle, going from there? And Jason was mentioning Hervé Renard, but it looks like Renard is going to stay on the other side of the Atlantic with his new gig. And I mean, it seems to make a lot of sense to go chasing after international names. Don't just sit there and turn it into some kind of an isolated search where you're not, jumping over an ocean and dropping $850 on a plane ticket to go talk to somebody.
Yeah, and I think also I mean, look, what's the what's the realistic window here in terms of a hire, right? Like you just played your last major competition before the World Cup, right? Like you don't have qualifiers. They talked about potentially having that person in charge for the Canada match, but like to me, I don't want to see them take what felt like 2 years to make a hire, but I also don't want it rushed, right? Like let's make it the right hire. Let's get the right person in for the job. So if it takes 3 months, if it takes 5 months, so be it. But you know, I think the U.S. soccer world, we were all excited about the possibility of Klopp. That obviously isn't going to happen. So you leave disappointed from that. But you don't want to drop too far from those hopes, and so you certainly don't want to settle, right? So that'd be the worst thing. And I think a big name coach from outside of U.S. soccer, I think, is necessary. I think ultimately you want it to be that hire where, and I don't even know if it's possible in this country in any form, but that everyone is kind of like, yes, let's get behind that person.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that if you sat there and let's get behind that person, it would probably be that pie in the sky name where it's like, if all things being equal and an individual, regardless of what you thought and what they are saying that their future is, I think that if a Klopp were eligible and he even expressed a remote desire of doing something like that, I think everybody would sit there and go, "Ooh, yeah." But we know that he's just like, I'm going to take some time. Yeah. And you're not going to change my mind. You're not going to do anything. I'm cool. Y'all keep going. I don't think there is that unanimous kind of a dude that is a part of this. And I think that
after him, you're saying,
after him, after that kind of a unanimous idea of like, yeah, we can throw our weight behind this and do with the, find the money under pillowcases and make sure that he gets paid.
Or a Pep, right? Like that. He's not. Yeah.
No, I still think that Pep's going to NYC more than anything
100%.
else. I think that when Pep leaves Manchester City, he turns into an ambassador for City Football Group, and then all of a sudden he wanders over to Dylan Butler Estates when it comes open, and he becomes the first head coach that wanders in through those doors.
Correct.
Or he's a part of that process. Scoring updates: Morocco now leads in the 57th minute 2-0 on a penalty.
You need to have your ticker going across the bottom.
I know. 1-1 Uzbekistan and Spain. They are in the 52nd minute. Well, I don't want to get in trouble with the Peacock and the five ring circle folks about having any kind of an update.
Just blame Canada Soccer.
Well, I was going to blame the drones. It's like, we got some drones overhead, and I'm trying to distract them, and so that way I'm running scores at the bottom of the screen. Derek, knowing U.S. Soccer Klinsman will be back. Don't you go wishing that on anybody, sir. Don't you say that blaspheme in here. Quoting Aretha Franklin from one of the best movies ever. When it comes to Major League Soccer, we're at the All-Star break. And we had the spectacle that is the amusement park part of the process last night in Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I should be concerned over the fact that they just tarped over that one end zone with all the sponsor stuff. I don't know if that was done on purpose to create a supply and demand situation when it came to tickets. But the amusement park, and later today, we're going to post our solutions to fixing the All-Star game that we've done over the last 2 seasons. But did you watch last night? Did you watch the?
I was working, so yes.
Okay, so what do you think of the amusement park in its current form?
Yeah, I would say any sport. I'm not a fan of like the All-Star game. I like the skills competition. Like NHL, I watch the skills competition. I don't necessarily watch the game because it's not a real hockey game, right? Like, no one's getting laid out for being in front of the net in the NHL. Same with other sports. Although I will say I didn't watch a second of anything baseball put out. So I didn't watch the home run derby. I didn't watch the game. I still can't even tell you who won the game. So
I don't watch it. I really don't.
I mean, listen, there were some fun things there. I thought, I think And I don't even know how much of it was even just the skills. I think the behind the scenes stuff, the sort of banter is fun, right? The Sasha Ricky Pooch stuff was pretty funny, right?
Yes.
Him saying that he's old, but what stays, what's on Twitter stays on Twitter. That was pretty
Sasha's
funny.
shoes were about as old as some of that were older than some.
Those were nice.
Well, and those shoes were older than some of the players in the MLS
Yeah.
Next All-Star game over at Historic Crew Stadium.
100%. And Sasha proved, right? Still has the touch. Some terrific passing, hit the crossbar as well.
And to do that with an IFB and a wireless microphone pack on your
and
person,
2 kids buzzing around them.
Yeah, I give Sasha Koljestin full credit for what he was able to handle in multitasking, without question. Absolutely, without question.
From a production standpoint, I thought they shot for some things that, unfortunately they didn't stick the landing on some of them, but it was good ideas, right? Like the mic'd up, was it Martin Paz, right? Like was mic'd, Martin Paz was mic'd up. Ricky Pooch was mic'd up, but it didn't translate. I don't know if he wasn't able to hear or whatever happened there. So those things were always kind of cringy when you dealing with it in live television, right? But for the actual competition, there were some fun aspects, right? Like Gignac coming up big again, right? No surprise there. Can we get this guy somehow in MLS?
Man,
somehow.
I think that when he turns 47 and he's finally tired of Liga MX, then he might sit there and say, "Yeah, I might want a change of."
Either that, or it's the time when literally the 2 leagues just merge.
Yes,
and then we will see him on a regular basis. But he's so much fun to watch. The Lucho Cucho thing was funny.
Yes.
So I mean, there were some entertaining aspects. I wish it would be goalie wars. No offense to the MLS Next guys, and you hear it too from the MLS goalies. Like they want to play in that. Like let's have the MLS goalies do it now.
Well, then here's what you do. Here's what you do. Here's how we fix goalie wars: promotion, relegation, and goalie wars. What you do is you have the 2 separate competitions. You have the lower division competition where Jean Antoine from CFC and Next Pro, and you have the League One guys, and you have League One and Next Pro guys in one competition, and then you have the MLS guys in a separate competition. If in the case of the Charlotte keeper who won for Crown Legacy in goalie wars, he gets promoted next year to the MLS competition in goalie wars. He's one of the keepers that goes in to goalie wars MLS style next year. And you're still having 2 separate competitions. You still have the goalie wars with a Z with the lower divisions. You have Major League Soccer with their own. But Chitari Odunze gets into the tournament next year because he won the lower division Next Pro, and he gets to go against the big guys that go up against the newly created, thank you very, very much, Major League Soccer that we've created right now on the SDH Network. MLS goalies get their own goalie wars next year, but Chitari Odunze, because he won this past year from the lower divisions, he gets in to be one of the participants. And the guy with the lowest score for Major League Soccer's version is relegated to next year's competition in the lower divisions. That's how you do it.
Okay.
We fixed it. We've created it. We fixed the situation.
Who was that dude that kept throwing the ball in? And I kept feeling so bad for that goalie. I'm like, dude, he's throwing the ball. Like, catch it already.
Oh,
like,
God.
Make the save.
I know. Who was it last night that kept throwing it in? I know who you're talking about. Because I watched it too. And I don't think it was. I think it was the
Antoine? No.
Crap.
No, it was the Dallas, right?
It was the North Texas guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
North Texas SC, goalie wars, MLS, not goalie wards, fat fingers. I think it was the North Texas Michael Collodi, because Collodi beat Stas Lapkus from Crew 2. I think it was Colodey's the guy that you're thinking of. So yeah, Colodey just kept winding up and firing and throwing it into the net. It's like, dude, he's throwing an outlet pass.
And he kept going to like the top corner. We know where he's going. Like, make the save now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think when you bring in the big names of MLS goalkeepers, then it's like, how fun would it be to see, Hugo Lloris against I don't know, Matt Freese, or those would be that would elevate goalie wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think
and
to be fair, so many MLS supporters, unless you're a Charlotte fan, or if you're a Columbus fan, you don't know these guys.
No. Or what you do is you have the two separate competitions there on the field, and you have your lower division winner go up against your MLS winner for the campeón de campeones of goalie wars.
Well, no, but then you could bring in Liga MX.
Absolutely.
Right?
You want to turn it into a three-way dance? You got like 3 goals set up, and you just kind of turn it into like you have 3 goals and everybody's just kind of throwing against each other?
Or have 4, and then you have no idea where they're going.
No. Oh, yeah. Here's what you do. What you do is you have Liga MX Femenil and NWSL. They have their competition. You have Liga MX have their competition. You have the lower divisions have their competition. And then you have MLS have their competition. So literally it is 4 competitions in goalie wars. And then what you do is you take the 4 winners of each of the 4 competitions, you throw them into a pile, and then random selections of who goes up against whom. And so you could have the Liga MX Femenil NWSL winner going up against Hugo Lloris in one of the Campeón de Campeones bracket. So that we have fixed goalie wars, Dylan. We've workshopped this, and we have fixed goalie wars here. See, now they just have to once again continue to pay attention to us, and we will continue to improve their product on a yearly basis. We're at the All-Star break. I asked Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes his thoughts after we've reached the All-Star break. Who, in your mind, is okay? They're okay as they are here in the transfer window. Who, in your mind, is a move away from either making a step forward or making a step backward? And who, in your mind, is just flat out, who's ish across the board in Major League Soccer right now?
Well, the last one is the San Jose Earthquake.
Yes.
So, enough said there, I guess.
You average 2.4 goals allowed per match, and you're the only team that's given up more than 50 this year.
Yeah. I think the team that's got the most bank and the most opportunity to make moves, I think like you think of an Atlanta, you think of a Charlotte, like these are going to be interesting times for those teams, right? I feel like Miami is who they are, right? We know who they are. And that's the team that's going to challenge for the Shield. Still surprised as hell that with the injuries that they've had and everything, right? Like
they know NIL. They've got NIL all figured out.
No, but like you and I think we were lockstep here, where we thought that was a team. I certainly thought this was a team that was made for the short competition, right? The Leagues Cup, the MLS Cup, playoffs, and didn't think that they'd be able to withstand the entire season. Now, again, they're only halfway there, so you still. But then again, when MLS starts up again, you're in late August.
Mm-hmm.
So the dog days of summer and a lot of that travel are behind you. So, I mean, full credit to them for maintaining things. Obviously, Cincinnati's going to get a center back to.
I was going to say, are they going to get a center back?
Would love to see the Red Bulls go for it and get a number 9. I think the transfer window is going to be interesting, right? Because again, you've got on polar opposites, you've got Miami and you've got San Jose, right? Like 2 teams that's who they are, but then a whole bunch of teams, Atlanta has so much money to spend. Charlotte also has the DP spots. I think those are two teams going for it. I think there's so much, so many teams, right, are in the mix within 3 to 4 points of each other, that it's going to be, I think, a really fun window just to kind of see. I think probably Columbus is also who they are, but NYCFC, Red Bull, Charlotte, Atlanta, like these are teams that I think have a big opportunity to improve their side, certainly on the eastern side of things.
No doubt about it. So what's going on with you and your time with MLS Soccer, and as the busiest man in the Northeast, what is going on with you?
I'll be on tonight, and then Saturday for Leagues Cup. So
Okay.
let's get the ball rolling there. Can't say I'm super excited just yet about it, but listen, honestly, look, whenever an MLS team plays a Liga MX team, it piques my interest. So
yes.
So hopefully that'll be fun.
Absolutely. Dylan, my friend, it's always great to see you. What's the mug this morning, by the way?
Grateful that I'm not a drone operator from Canada Soccer.
Oh, yeah, being sent home from a French vacation. As always, my friend, it's always great to see you here on the Wall Pass Wednesday, where we talk about anything and everything, not just what's going on in the world of soccer. We will catch up with you soon. And next time, we'll probably talk about your beloved Newcastle and what's up with Eddie Howe and whether or not he stays or becomes the new manager for English football. All of the front office shakeups and everything, where he's dropping the Rafa Benitez kind of a quote. I don't know. I mean, I like it here, but there's some things, there's some things we got to think about, well, we'll see where it goes. I like, Eddie Howe, he's channeling folks already. Be safe, my friend. We'll catch up with you soon.
All right, buddy.
All right. That's Dylan. Dylan's going to go continue to drink coffee. And here's your updates. Thank you, Bart, by the way. It is a 2-1 match, and it was and now it was almost a 2-2 match. Wow. Just missed a header off a set piece in 72nd minute. Big save by Morocco. They are now having to defend a corner. Brilliant set piece. 2 unmarked at the back post. And great entry. Wow. 2 players were there. Great self-defense save by the Moroccan keeper. So 2-1 Morocco, 73rd minute. Spain leading Uzbekistan now 2-1. That is in the 69th minute. Nice. So we got that. Fantastic save there by Morocco. Once again, 2 at 9, 2 at 11, 2 at 1, and 2 at 3. Your rundown today. Everything else is on Peacock until 3 o'clock. Egypt, Dominican Republic, Guinea and New Zealand at 11. Japan, Paraguay, Iraq and Ukraine, that's at 1. Mali and Israel is on Peacock at 3. France and the USA is on USA and on Peacock at 3 o'clock. Rich Ransom doing the Lord's work and letting us know the public service of all of that stuff that's attached. A couple of places that we need to kind of keep an eye on when it comes to news and stuff. That's the official term. According to Giambalaghe, it looks like Lucas Langoni is in the process of moving from Boca Juniors to New England Revolution in the highest transfer history of the North American club. They were looking at the number initially $7.5 million. So keep an eye on Lucas Langoni and New England Revolution. We mentioned the not 1, but 2 drone incidents involving Canada Soccer. 2. Not the 1. Not one, but 2. 2 drone incidents involving Canada Soccer as they were, I don't know, scouting maybe, perhaps, possibly, keeping an eye on, however you want to phrase it, with what was going on involving their opponent, New Zealand. So, yeah, 2 folks were sent home, and official complaints have been made. Wringing of hands, gnashing of teeth, all of that stuff. But not once but twice. You're like, yeah, okay. We got so much information the first time. 2 Canada drone spying incidents. So literally this was something that they had planned. This is just like, one, you're sitting there thinking, okay, maybe we can sit there and look at it and go, yeah, okay, maybe they're just doing something silly. But 2, July 19, July 22nd, 2 drone incidents involving Canada Soccer and New Zealand practice in Saint-Étienne. Unaccredited analyst with Canada Soccer removed, sent home immediately. Assistant coach who the unaccredited analyst reported to, removed from the Olympic team, sent home immediately. Accepted the decision of head coach Bev Priestman to remove herself from coaching the match against New Zealand on July 25. And Canada Soccer will undergo mandatory ethics training. And like I said, possibly, probably, perhaps, maybe, we might have what could have been the conversation between the IOC and Canada Soccer. We might have what could have been one of those conversations. We'll have that for you tomorrow on the morning show. Hour number 2 is Nino and Nico tomorrow. And hour number 1 will go through all of the fun stuff that we've been talking about. We'll go over All-Star. And once again, as a public service, we will post here throughout the day SDH's fixes for the All-Star game. We fixed goalie wars in the Dylan Butler segment. And I'm glad we were able to workshop that and get to a conclusion where we can make goalie wars available for everybody. We might add that to the mix. But we have fixed goalie wars, and you, as a part of the SDH family and SDH on the whole over the last 2 years, have fixed the All-Star game. All-Star game's tonight on Apple TV Plus with all the bells and whistles and everything that is going on at the Death Star in Columbus, Ohio. So keep an eye and enjoy that and watch as you wish, or continue to watch what's going on in the Olympic tournament, which would be like 1 o'clock in the morning here in the East Coast. So everything that you would be watching would be something that happened earlier in the day on tape. COC, the Canada Olympic Committee, is in contact with the IOC and in contact with FIFA. Canada Soccer has been transparent and cooperative throughout the process. COC will continue to review this matter and may take further action if necessary. The Bev Priestman paragraph, quote, on behalf of our entire team, I first and foremost want to apologize to the players and staff at New Zealand Football and to the players on Team Canada. This does not represent the values that our team stands for. I am ultimately responsible for conduct in our program. Accordingly, to emphasize our team's commitment to integrity, I've decided to voluntarily withdraw from coaching the match on Thursday in the spirit of accountability. I do this with the interests of both teams in mind and to ensure everyone feels that the sportsmanship of this game is upheld, end quote. We also mentioned that Salt Lake got the Winter Olympics for 2034. And now you end up with Salt Lake getting the 34 Winter Games. So now you have all of this that is going on. So winter 2034, Salt Lake City. Quoting Nick Butler, IOC have effectively awarded the 2034 Olympics to Salt Lake on the condition that the USA stop criticizing the World Anti-Doping Agency for the handling of 23 Chinese doping positives covered up and allegedly, contaminated. So, yeah, DeVos and Kayange from Belgium and Kenya. And now, due to the Rodchenkov doping law, the IOC is now changing the host contract for 2034. So keep an eye on that as well. We'll see how that continues to go. Let's see. And our friends from Tulsa chiming in after our conversations about Columbus United as they head to FC Motown. and Duluth FC as they head to El Farolito. And so that was the fun conversations that we had yesterday. And you can catch up with that show on the network across all of our platforms there. And there's that as well. A couple of player news and notes. Chelsea's sending their first bid in the region of 20 million euro to Villarreal for Philip Jorgensen. Follows talks on the players' side is revealed by Fabrizio Romano earlier this week. On the list as a potential new goalkeeper for Enzo Maresca, and Jorgensen is keen on the move. So keep an eye on that. Did you see Jose Mourinho? Jose Mourinho, Edin Dzeko, by the way, had a natural hat trick in the second half on the way to Fenerbahce beating their opponent 4-3, beating Lugano in Champions League qualifying. Champions League qualifier was his first game for Fenerbahce, and he went on to rage about the synthetic pitch at the Stockholm Arena after the match. Quote, and I wish I could do it as Jose, but as manager of Fenerbahce, Jose Mourinho said this: "We tried not to make excuses before the match, but playing quality football on a synthetic pitch is a challenge. The ball doesn't move as it should, players struggle to dribble, and the game's pace slows significantly. I can't fathom why UEFA permits Champions League matches on synthetic surfaces. It's also perplexing why a good team like Lugano would choose to play on such a pitch. It wasn't ideal for the game." Dzeko's performance, and this is from our friends at TalkSport. Dzeko's performance was a standout for Fenerbahce, but Mourinho was far from happy with the 3 goals conceded. Quote, "A 7-goal game is thrilling for the fans, but from a coaching perspective, conceding 3 goals is problematic. I didn't like conceding a goal from a set piece. Second goal was an easy shot, and the third was not fair play. They should have given us the ball, and they didn't," end quote. Second leg back in Turkey, July 30. Winner goes on to face Lille in the third qualifying round. So what's the world like if you don't have Jose Mourinho yelling and screaming about anything and everything? So welcome back to soccer, Jose Mourinho. Welcome back to Fenerbahce. Scoring updates for what's going on. It is still 2-1s across the board. Morocco leading in the 82nd over Argentina. Thiago Almada with the assist on the Argentina goal a handful of minutes ago. And Spain was down 1-0 and has come back to lead Uzbekistan 2-1 in the 79th minute. And Argentina almost got an equalizer. Nice through ball and bad clearance attempt. It kind of pinballed around a little bit and shot right at the Moroccan keeper, right inside the 6 in close range. And so that close to an equalizer for Argentina. Big save by Morocco, pouncing on it, and it is still 2-1 in the 82nd minute. I don't think that qualified as play-by-play, so I think we're in good shape. Michael's fix for the All-Star game is ended. Puts us back on par with every other league in the world. Easy. It's a TV episode, and you can't just kill your TV episodes of your series. There are ways to fix it. First and foremost, and this is one of the things that I think we've all maintained, is that stop playing other leagues. Stop playing other leagues and acting like you've got to prove yourself to the rest of the planet. Stop playing other teams. All I have to do is mention Juventus to Nick. If I mention the words Juventus and All-Star game to Nick, I may as well just back away from the microphone and yield the rest of the time. No. Liga MX All-Stars, while it's cool to see guys like Gignac, as Dylan Butler admits, and I'm right there with him, it's cool to see that kind of stuff. But I don't think that you should continue to go up against other leagues, all-star teams, and other teams. Michael wants to know what the actual viewership of the MLS All-Star match was. And we'd all like to know. But Apple is very, very closed to the vest when it comes to their viewership and their numbers. The only numbers you can get are over-the-air numbers. I mean, let me see. Before it moved over to Apple, just to give you an idea, the over-the-air ratings in 2022, just to give you an idea, 2022 MLS All-Star Game, 953,000, a little over 950,000 household viewers saw the action on ESPN or Univision. Pair of networks simulcast the event, helped create a 2.2 times year-over-year audience increase compared to the totals amassed by FS1 and 2 to NA in 2021. English language audience more than tripled from 21 to 22, and it was a 3.31 times boost. Univision's viewership 4% higher than 2 to NA and what they drew in 2021. So over-the-air numbers saw an increase in English language broadcast from 21 to 22. That's the last metric we have from any kind of over-the-air product. Like I said, Apple TV is specifically, they're very, very quiet with their numbers. They'll sit there and they'll tell you that, yeah, we're happy about it, and that's about it. They'll go, yeah, we're cool. And I know that there are specters in the world and sit there in dark clouds that talk about notices of, they can opt out and all this kind of stuff. But viewership was up from 21 to 22 in an over-the-air fashion. No way to know what it was in 23. I don't think there's any way to find out. Let me see if I can really quickly, and I know that this makes for fantastic television. All right, so 2023 MLS All-Star ratings. Let's see if this even exists as a thing. 5-0 loss. You've got the roster. You've got player ratings. Let me see if I got TV ratings here. I should have specified. TV ratings for All-Star game. 22, 23, 815,000 watched MLS Cup on linear Fox. Nothing involving any kind of a ratings number. Can't say I'm surprised. So that's so basically any and all numbers stop after it shifted to Apple for 23. What you will get is Apple's going to say the right things. Major League Soccer is going to say the right things. They're happy with their relationship, and you're not going to get a number. I think that if there was disappointment, the quote would be a little more guarded after the match. If they're happy with it, the quote will be the quote. If there's concern, you can parse some wording in a quote and sit there and go, yeah, okay, there's some red flags here. But, this is year 2 of a 10, and we'll see what Apple and Major League Soccer continue to do as this relationship builds. I still think that Major League Soccer is a petri dish for Apple when it comes to other soccer product. If they wanted to chase after Champions League or any other international tournaments and things like that, I think that Apple is the MLS is the petri dish for Apple when it comes to other productions and chasing after other contracts. So we'll see. 2-1 in the 88th minute. Morocco is still leading. And 85th minute, Spain leading Uzbekistan by the score of 2-1. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on all of those. I want to see if there's some juice boxes here for these matchups today. Let's see. So popular. Are we getting any kind of a list for all this kind of stuff? I don't know. World? Do we get? Yeah, we actually do. Okay. Argentina coming into today was a plus 129. Morocco a plus 2.25. Draws a plus 213. Spain was a minus 303 coming in. Uzbekistan almost a plus 800. Your other favorites today, Egypt, a big favorite over the Dominican Republic at a minus 455. Guinea favored over New Zealand at a minus 122. 1 o'clock, Ukraine at a minus 132 favored against Iraq. Japan a minus 122 favored against Paraguay. France a minus 179 up against the U.S. Olympic squad. U.S. Olympic squad a plus 442. Your draws a plus 326. The other matchup at 3 o'clock is Mali favored at a plus 138 over Israel at a plus 209. And your draw is a plus 218. News out of other leagues that are not playing in the Olympics. Once again, Ben Fisher at The Guardian this morning. The Premier League, along with the FA, EFL, and the Women's Super League, have released a code of conduct for gambling deals less than 24 hours after campaigners accused top-flight clubs of milking cash from betting firms before a ban on front-of-shirt sponsors is introduced for the 26-27 season. Premier League, alongside aforementioned stakeholders, say they've drafted a voluntary framework to be implemented before the start of this season. Last year, Premier League clubs agreed to withdraw betting companies from the front of shirts from the end of the 25-26 campaign. Yesterday, and this is part of why this is also somewhat newsworthy, Bournemouth announced a record-breaking deal with Asian betting firm BJ88, taking the contingent of top-flight clubs to confirm a gambling company as their primary shirt sponsor for the coming campaign to 11, up from 8 last year. Crystal Palace and Wolves have returned to having betting firms as their shirt sponsors after deals with non-gambling businesses. Authorities list 4 key principles behind their approach: protection, social responsibility, reinvestment, and integrity, but say the overarching aim is to ensure gambling sponsorships are delivered in a responsible way and ensure they limit the reach to children and those at risk of gambling-related harm, end quote. And I will continue to point at the work at our friends at Yosemar Football about the gambling firms themselves and really what they apparently do with their web of webs and websites. As an example, Net88, who's tied to Crystal Palace, and this is the header from our friends at Yosemar Football, just to give you an idea as to what some firms do in gambling. Our friends at Yosemar Football did not Bart. We'll get into that too. Bart doing the Lord's work and sending us another story that we forgot to mention yesterday. Net88, this is the main headline from the article about Crystal Palace, and this is back from July 4th, so Happy New Year. Net88, Crystal Palace's main sponsor for the next 2 Premier League seasons, is an illegal Vietnamese betting operator appearing to offer gambling on blood sports and stream live sex on its social platforms. Story by Filippo Clare and Andy Brown. And that's what I posted in the Twitch pitch. So no word on BJ88. I'm sure that our friends at Yosemar Football are going to be discussing that as we go forward. So YouTube has been named as the new WSL and championship streaming platform. Women's professional game confirmed the fixtures for 24-25 at the top 2 tiers. Sky and BBC are the current rights holders for the WSL broadcast, 66 of the 132 fixtures between them. Sky and Now will show 44 games throughout the WSL campaign, an increase on the 35 matches in the previous deal. BBC will air 22 live, and at least 18 of those will be on BBC 1 or 2. All of them available on iPlayer. Previous seasons, the non-broadcast WSL fixtures and select championship matches were shown on the FA's streaming platform, the FA Player. However, from the start of the new campaign, according to Microsoft and MSN, transition to YouTube, games set to be streamed globally on each division's respective channels, Barclays WSL and Barclays WC. They're also going to house non-match content, highlights, interviews, and shoulder content. The FA Player continued to host the Adobe Women's FA Cup fixtures and content. Quote from Nikki Doucette in the article: championship begins on the weekend of September 7-8 with Newcastle's visit to London City, shown on YouTube. 14-15, Bristol City, Birmingham City. WSL begins the week of the 21st, 22nd. Villa and Chelsea on BBC. Arsenal, Manchester City on Sky. Match day 2, Chelsea to Crystal Palace on Sky. BBC 2 gets Manchester City's match against Brighton on the 29th in the midday slot. Okay, very cool. And I'm hoping. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it absolutely is. And it is an absolute not safe for work warning. It absolutely is. So, yeah, if you want to read the article, make sure that no one's around because it is a very deep dive, and it continues the great work that Filippo Clare and Andy Brown and everybody are doing there. But, yeah, and Bart rightfully so puts up the NSFW warning when it comes to that particular piece. 15 minutes of stoppage? 15? Are you serious? Sorry, I turn. Not that we do play-by-play or anything like that. That's got to be 5, not 15. That's got to be 5. I guess not. 15 minutes of stoppage time with Morocco and Argentina. That's insane. Welcome back to the tournament. Wow. Halfway through the 5th minute, Morocco's still leading 2-1, and they've got 9.5 minutes to go, or 10.5 minutes to go. 15 minutes of stoppage. 90 plus 3. Spain is still leading Uzbekistan 2-1. Holy crap. 15 minutes of stoppage time. They're going for a while. Dom's like, yeah, nope, it's 15. I don't know how you get 15 minutes. I really don't. I have no idea how you get 15 minutes. That is stunning to me. That is absolutely crazy to me that you end up with 15 minutes. Oh, by the way, we were discussing Atlanta United and decisions and everything, and the possibility that Miranchuk is on the verge of being signed and being brought over to this side of the Atlantic this year. Decisions on contracts, just as a reminder and a public service. End of the calendar year. Brad, Dax, Jamal, Daniel Rios, Ronald Hernandez, Nick Firmino, Efren Morales, Tyler Wolf, and Jay Fortune. Those are your 24s. You control the assets for 25. Quentin Westberg, Derek Williams, Shonda Silva, Luisa Braun, Brooks Lennon, Josh Cohen, Matthew Edwards. Those are your 25s. Saba's a 26. William Ba's a 26. Amador's a 26. Mosqueda's a 26. Noah Cobb is a 26. 27s, Gregerson, Brennan, Torres, Bart Sleesh is a 28. So that's what you're looking at when it comes to all of your contracts with Atlanta United. And right now, the value of Atlanta United, their total market value, 23.95 million euro, total market value. And that puts them, let me see, I think that puts them like dead last now in market value. I think it does, if my memory is correct. Because of all of the outbounds with Atlanta United, now they are, when it comes to market value, right now Atlanta United with with all of the outgoing transfers, you have a total market value of 1.22 billion euro. And since it's taking forever for the wheel of doom to sit there and look at what's going on. Total market values. Okay, so total market values, Atlanta United is now last. Having cleaned out the contracts that they have, total market value is now 23.95 million euro. They are last in Major League Soccer. Shocking no one, market value for Inter Miami is at 95.5 million euro. Then it is a 40 million euro gap to LA Galaxy, who's number 2. 55.58. Yeah, it does. With Miranchuk being added, that puts you, say, 36, 30, so let's say 12 or 13 million, or so 15. Oh, so let's go 15. So 15 and 23 is 38. That puts you in and around Houston. So let's see, how many teams below 3, 6, 9, 12. So yeah, it puts you middle of the pack. You bring in Miranchuk, you're middle of the pack. You bring in others, you keep working your way up and up and up. And so 39 million with Miranchuk, and that puts you like 18th. And then you add another couple, and there's really is a lot of – you bring in another winger or a striker for 10, and literally that puts you back in the top 6. So with what you've cleaned out, yes, you're at the bottom, but literally you are one transaction from being in the middle of the pack and 2 transactions from being back to top 6. So that's where we are with that. All right, so Hernandez is at the end of this season, and he's one of the 24s. So that's what you were. That's what you're looking at with detailed. Literally, I would bookmark public service announcement. Bookmark Transfermarkt. Bookmark FBref. FBREF. Literally FBref.com. And those are 2 of the big sites that I go to in these situations when it comes to player comparisons, statistics, world rankings of individual players and their stats, those kinds of things. So, but yeah, Ronald is a 24. So Ronald is right now. His contract is at the end of the calendar year. So that's where Ronald is. Also on the board, we've got gossip, rumor, and innuendo. We're in the 10th minute of 15, and wow, the Moroccan players, everybody's gassed. 90 plus 6, Spain still leading 2-1. 90 plus 11. 90 plus 11. 90 plus 11. 15 minutes added. Morocco leading Argentina 2-1. Egypt, and by the way, we've gone from matches going into 90 plus 12, transitioned into the 11 o'clock hour where Egypt, the Dominican Republic, Guyana, and New Zealand are playing. Other matches have started in the World 5-Ring Circus competition over in France. The 9 o'clocks haven't ended yet. 4 more minutes or so. Ref's discretion, Morocco leading Argentina 2-1. Argentina charging from left to right, and they are inside the 18 corner. So we'll see what's going on there. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, those kinds of things. Remember tomorrow. Tomorrow it is 9 o'clock hour. We catch up with folks. 10 o'clock hour, Nino and Nico. Nino Torres, our buddy from Gold TV at 10. Nico Moreno from Pulso Sports in the Soccer Bar at 10:30. So 9 o'clock, getting ready for things. And 3.5 minutes to go now, plus any other discretionary added time. Morocco is still leading. And we're at 90 plus 9 with Spain and Uzbekistan. So up to date, alleged gossip for – no, I didn't click that one. I clicked this one. Goodness gracious alive. Arsenal interested in Nico Williams from Athletic Bilbao. Real Sociedad's Mikel Merino facing competition for Barca and for both Spanish internationals. Borussia Dortmund and Juve, along with PSG, keen on signing Jadon Sancho, but can't meet the Old Trafford club valuation. United want £40 million. Trent Alexander-Arnold committed to Liverpool, but the Reds are hopeful he'll sign a new deal. Amid interest from Real Madrid, 3-letter paper, take the information at your own peril. Manchester City in talks to sell Brazil right back Jan Couto, who is yet to play for the club, to Borussia Dortmund. Expect the German club to offer about £25 million for the 22-year-old. 4-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Manchester United have offered just under €40 million for Matthijs de Ligt, but Bayern Munich will not accept less than 50 plus add-ons. Chelsea's Trevor Chalobah is understood to have been shocked at being left out of the club's preseason tour of the United States. And the 25-year-old believes he's being forced out of the club. Kieran Trippier is attracting interest from 2 Saudi clubs with 1 year remaining on his deal with Newcastle, set to leave the Tyneside club. Joelinton says he's happy at Newcastle, believes that Bruno Guimaraes is going to stay despite being linked with a move away. Brentford's Ivan Toney is prepared to run down his deal if he doesn't get a big move this summer. Manchester United will first need to sell Aaron Wan-Bissaka if they want to sign right back Nusser Mazraoui from Bayern Munich. Everton set to sign Jesper Lindstrom from Napoli on a season-long loan, which includes an £18.5 million option to buy. That's from Gianluca Di Marzio. Ipswich preparing to bid for Sunderland winger Jack Clark, with Spurs set to get a major part of any fee, having negotiated a 40% sell-on clause when they sold him to Sunderland in the first place. Bologna are in contact with Mats Hummels, who's a free agent after leaving Borussia Dortmund, as they look to replace Calafiori, who's set to join Arsenal. Getafe is just going to get over £5 million from Mason Greenwood's move to Manchester United to Marseille because of a sell-on clause they negotiated when they took the loan from Old Trafford last year. Ollie McBurney is set to join Las Palmas as a free agent after being released by Sheffield United this past summer. And a lot of folks are sitting there saying that Ollie McBurney is just going to do his 2 years. He's going to set up a bar, and he's going to go off and kick off his shoes and rest in the sunset. Rangers captain James Tavernier in talks with Trabzonspor, who are prepared to offer £1 million for the English defender. Scottish club ready to listen to offers for Todd Cantwell, with a number of sides interested as well. 30 seconds to go. Morocco is still leading Argentina. Chelsea made an initial approach for Philip Jorgensen. We talked about that move. Championship side Derby County set to sign Sweden keeper Jakob Vidal Zetterstrom, with Derby County agreeing to a £1.4 million deal with his club Djurgårdens IF. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Obviously, you got soccer all day. Soccer all day. Bart, I think, is a little ahead of me, so I am going to hang on to my opinion and see what Bart is laying out here. A lot of swerving, a block. Wow. Kicked out the rebound. Oh, off. Wow. You weren't kidding. 2 crossbars and a header. Wow. 15-26. Bart, you are ahead of me. Oh, pending review. Okay. It's 15-26 of 15 minutes. We apparently have an equalizer in Spain and Morocco. So save twice. Second save off the crossbar. Header off the crossbar, headed in. So that's where we are. And it was Thiago's shot that looked like started the whole thing. So 2 headers, and then off the crossbar, and then once again in. So we're into review. So we'll see. All right. So since Bart's ahead of me here in Office HD, Argentina salvages a point, and it is 1 point each. Great. 15 minutes, though. 15 blanking minutes. 15 blanking minutes. Are you kidding me with this? It's a big point for Argentina. BN's got the Sudamericana, and BN and Espanol, they do too, and simulcast. If you don't have the BNs, you can go to our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Add that to your streaming services. I did. Jason got me hooked. I blame him. Universidad Católica Libertad is at 6. Boca Juniors and IDV is at 8:30. Chelsea and Wrexham is at 10:30 on the 4-letter. FS2, Guatemala, Mexico is at 10 o'clock. USA Network, once again, is showing Egypt, the Dominican Republic now. They're going to show France in the U.S. at 3. Everything else is on Peacock. BN and Espanol, your simulcast on Sudamericana. Telemundo also simulcasting. Universo also simulcasting. All-Stars game is at 8. 11 o'clock tonight on tape delay. It's got to be 11 a.m., not 11 p.m. Loudoun and Charleston. I think that's a Students' Day that has just started with Loudoun United and Charleston. It's great to catch up with Ryan Martin last week, by the way, as they were getting into their bye weekend. Fox Soccer Plus has Haiti and Panama at 7 on the U20 championships for CONCACAF. NBCOlympics.com has your choice of all 8 matches, which are now down to 6 for the rest of the day. Paramount Plus has the Argentine Primera. And it is 4, Talleres Córdoba, Defensa y Justicia. 4:15, Sarmiento Racing Club. 6:30, Godoy Cruz River Plate, Huracan and Estudiantes. 7:45, Boca Juniors and Newells. And once again, Peacock has everything else when it comes to the men's side. So it is a very, very busy day. It has been a very, very busy day. And, apparently throwing fireworks at the Argentine players. That's solid. That's a good way to get things done. All right, let me say hi to everybody before we get out of here. Thanks again to Tyler Pilgrim. Thanks to Jarrett. Thanks to Dylan Butler. Thanks to all of you guys for hanging out. Once again, tomorrow, hour number 2, it's the Nino and Nico show. They're going to come by and talk about everything on their mind. Morning, Dell. Morning, Michael. And yeah, Kids Day. Yeah, thank you, because it's like 11 p.m. on Soccer America. No. Morning, Alex. Morning, morning, Tom. Morning, Emilio. Morning, Will. Morning, Ropes. Morning, Will. And let's see, morning, Ricky. Let's see, morning, Rich. Morning, Harry. Let's see, who else am I missing here? And there's a hockey talk too. Hockey talk and Aqib Talib in the Twitch pitch. Nick's morning. Morning, Nick's on a couple of different fronts. Morning, Bart. Morning, Ricky. Let's see. Morning, Will, as we're going over the exchange rates and I had it backwards. Bart is saying, spend the money on a handsome man. As well you should. By the way, for those of you that missed it, Bart actually was at, I think he was at America's Mart. And he was holding court yesterday with all of the real world stuff that he's doing these days. He was holding court. Picture him on a microphone, on a stage, and everything. Nicely done. Let's see. Morning, Ricky. Morning, Tom. Morning, Will. Bart. Let's see. Morning, Pars. Pars did get everything figured out, by the way. Uninstall and reinstall the Twitch app. And so that was the big thing. And so hopefully we've got that one all squared away. All right. So morning, Derek. Let's see. Morning, Bart. We're in hour number 2. Let's see. There's Tom. There's Michael. There's Derek. Michael Valverde. Good morning. Morning, Bart. And let's see. Back into past 11 o'clock and the finish for the match that we didn't do. A morning 4 card who just got out of a meeting. Nah, we're all cool in our own way. We're all cool in our own ways. And, and so Tom is letting us know about Tommy Scoops and Gimme Sport before we get out of here. And Tom Bogert is saying officially, as of 14 minutes ago, everything is okay. So, right. Yeah, we had this from Fabrizio Romano this morning. Everybody seems to be using the same numbers. Land United agreed to a deal with Miranchuk, deal in region of $13 million. Gianluca DiMarzio first reported the agreement. Agreements reached between all parties. So Bogert is saying agreement reached between all parties. And DiMarzio and Fabrizio Romano are saying that it's euro and not dollars. So it's either $13 million or $15 million, depending on if you're looking at the dollar sign or the euro sign. So somewhere on the upper range of what Atalanta was looking at. Somewhere between $13 and $15 million being spent. So one of the most expensive in league history. Gianluca DiMarzio first reported the agreement. So follow Tommy Scoops from this end of the Atlantic. Follow Fabrizio Romano, Gianluca DiMarzio, all of those folks on that side of the Atlantic. And we're getting closer and closer and closer to the deal with France and USA and rugby. Let's waste no time. Show that today. All right, we got to get out of here, and we'll be back at it tomorrow once again. Hour number 2 is the Nino and Nico show. We'll have stuff to talk about. We're also chasing lower division stuff and getting all that squared away, so we'll see what's going on with all of that. Thanks for all of you guys for coming in and being here for a Wall Pass Wednesday where we don't know what's going to happen. We never do, except 15 minutes of stoppage time and drones. Drones, people. Canada drones. Not once, but twice. We'll see what happens and see if there's any fallout. We'll see you in a little less than 22.